It's that time again. It's that time for a brand new, fresh challenge. Now, of course, it's going to feature some tactics you probably won't have seen before, but we're going to focus on the rejects. Okay, let me explain. There's the wheel of teams we're going to spin from, but here are the steps for each team. On this wheel, this is not going to be pretty. I took to Twitter this morning and asked for some team suggestions, and these are the 5 leagues that are going to be used. Serie A, Ligue 1, the Portuguese Prem, Scotland and La Liga. Right folks, let me explain. Those are the clubs we're going to choose from. There's Rangers, Real Betis, Marseille, Braga, Juventus, Bologna, Sporting, Valencia. We've got 5 seasons to achieve our goals. Our goals are the following. Basically, we are going to use roles and setups that are ignored by many. They are the rejects of the Football Manager world. The goal is to survive a season without the sack. A trophy would be a huge bonus. At the end of each season or sacking, we will spin the wheel for a new club and a new tactic. We need to use a tactic that has either 4 target forwards.
Forget about it.
Double on Gonch and Ganch on Gonch.
In terms of entertainment.
Team violence, which will be 3 at least ball-winning midfielders.
They need to step up to the plate.
4-4-2. Old school 4-4-2, gotta use it.
Discipline defensively.
And the final one is no nonsense defence. Everyone in that defence has to have the role and duty of no nonsense defender.
No, not for me.
So that's the steps. I'm expecting to get sacked a lot. Let's see where we're gonna go first up. It's a good start. It's a good start. Depending on what tactic we get, that is. It's now time for the first step. There's a couple in there that I'm really nervous about, and I'd probably prefer to get them now while we've got a strong team. So fingers crossed that they land on them. You'll probably be able to tell by my reaction. Oh, no nonsense defence. The entire back line has to have no nonsense defender. Never done this before. Never.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Club 1 is Juventus, obviously historically a giant of a club. I'm ready for it though, I've got war paint on. However, when I'm looking at the squad, Italians are notoriously good, hard defenders, so this is probably the ideal club for what we're about to do. Basically, the passing technique and vision ability of some defenders is not going to be needed. When we're going for no-nonsense centre-backs, you can see all these attributes highlighted here, but when we break it down to no-nonsense defenders, the attributes are skimmed right down. You don't need as many. Now it comes to the tricky part of putting a tactic together. I think the best approach will be to take a tactic I know already works and then change the roles at the back. So I'll go through one of these tactic packs I've got already and let's go for a classic. I've loaded in the Hansi Flick tactic. Now, at the minute, this is going to change drastically because as you can see at the back there, we've got ball-playing defenders who are going to start the moves off and we've got wing-backs who are going to do the overlapping. So a lot of tweaking is going to be needed here. It sounds daft to say, but at the minute, my defenders are one of the main attacking threats. So when I change all these to no nonsense, that's going completely out the window. For example, the left wing back is basically the guy down the left-hand side, allowing my inside forward to basically stay as a striker. So his role will probably have to change as well. Up we go. No nonsense fullback are only available with the defend duty. And you can see how basic it is.
Sometimes.
Boom, there he is. He's not shifting from that position, basically. I've done the same thing to the opposite fullback. So our no-nonsense centre-back does have a couple more options. Stopper, where he'll go for the ball and try and stop attacks as they come, and cover, where he'll sweep up behind other defenders, or normal defend duty. So I've gone for a stopper-cover combination, meaning this guy's going to go for the ball if it's in that sort of vicinity, and he's going to sweep up behind him. Hopefully, that will work. I have no idea. So in match, if you're wondering how this is going to look, obviously our focus is going to be on the defenders. In this match, it's Cambiaso, Bremer, Gatti and Danilo. Those are the 4. I'm not expecting them to venture much past this area here. Let's see. So we play the ball into Locatelli, who's the playmaker. Now, normally when Chiesa gets that ball there, if you've got a wing-back or a full-back on attack, this guy down here, Cambiaso, would be bombing down that flank. However, he's not moving, so Chiesa's having to look inside. So that's something we might have to think about as the season goes on. I'll show you the goal. Chiesa again's got the ball. And look, Cambiaso, Danilo is bombing back. He's bombing back. His first thing is I'm getting backwards. Cambiaso's kind of up there. He's just under my head as we play it on. All the attacking play is going to have to come from the attack because as we scroll out, there's the defenders. They're all staying pretty much back. First game of the season, we got smashed by Tiny Cagliari. Good draws followed away to Roma and at home to Inter, where we probably should have won. We did finally win at home to Monza, but then we lost away to Frosinone and humbled at home by Atalanta.
And you sound in control.
Needless to say, this has not started well. We are currently 16th in the league, 13 points off the top. I completely changed up the front four positions, and I'm dropping the defensive line back a bit as well. But results continued to be absolutely atrocious. And when we got beat at home in the Coppa Italia to Salernitana, alarm bells were beginning to ring. Add to the fact we're in a board takeover with the bad results, we are in the mud big time. It's increasingly clear that this just is not working. So I went back to the tactic bank and loaded in an old Pep tactic and made some tweaks. I'm thinking double Mazzalas might help out wide because these two ain't moving. As it sits in December, we are 14th in the league and 5 points off relegation. This is always a nice message, isn't it? High-flying Udinese came to us next, and we started brilliantly. Our best win of the season, Udinese were second, so that's a big result. And despite that win, the rumours persisted, but another big win followed. 2 wins back-to-back has eased the pressure a bit, but they look like they want to pull the trigger on us here. Every game is now vital. We've got Sassuolo next, and then I do not like the look of Fiorentina at all. So now it's the board, supporters, and basically the entire squad who don't like me.
Everyone on the roster!
After our mini revival, I was right to be worried about Fiorentina because they murdered us. And with Cagliari up next, our fate could be sealed. Thankfully, we were absolutely fantastic here. Vlahovic pinged it in. It was 2-1, but it should have been way more comfy. That eased the pressure a bit, but it was Roma next. This is going to be tough. I made changes again, and this was a huge win, and honestly, far too nerve-wracking. 5-3, and we probably didn't deserve it. That match we set up like this. Weah was rubbish, so I'm going to move him forward and just hope for the best.
90% of the time, I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
But unfortunately, it's Inter Milan next, away from home. Now this is going to be harsh. Inter away is going to be the deciding match. This could be it. This could well be it. I'll put McKennie in there for a bit of steel. Fingers crossed. We'd conceded 10 goals from corners and 8 from crosses. That is not good enough, and the corner one isn't even my fault.
I'd like to take this chance to apologise.
I've now got a job advert out for a set-piece coach at last. I'm also going to trap people inside, and I'm going to stop crosses. Friends, we've just took the lead, but I want to show you, you can see why we've had problems all season, right? So Chiesa gets that ball, and look, he's got absolutely no options on the overlap at all. Cambiaso is having none of it. Full time, huge. But still, the threat remained. But we won that match too, and if you actually look at our form since January, we've only lost 2 matches. We're sitting in 12th. Problem is, next match, Atalanta, who are top of the league. It looks like they're going to give us a month. A month. So we need to take that tactic, put it in the bin, start from scratch. Hello, old friend. Home draw against Napoli followed, but then we lost to Genoa in 2 games we should have won based on match stats.
He didn't just say that.
Now, games coming. Salernitana, Empoli, Torino, Verona, Bologna. 5 matches we should win. So tactic number 432 of the season, we're going for it. 4-2-4, let's go. Vlahovic penalty gave us the win against Salernitana. Then we beat Empoli 2 in a row. Well, I'd like to see those 3 use a no-nonsense defence. So after a pretty shambolic run at Juventus using 4 no-nonsense defenders, we last until the 30th of March. Not the ideal start to the new series, is it? The next club with a new tactic will be Braga in Portugal. And for Braga, they'll be treated to one of the 4 tactics we have remaining. A 4-4-2, team violence, target forward times 4. I am not looking forward to that one. And the double on Gonch. Did I say that right, Ches? On Gonch. It's got to go better than Juve. In the first reject story, the scene was set, the rules were given, and we drew no-nonsense defenders for our first tactic. At Juventus, we tried 450 tactics, pressure loomed until it got too much, and we were sacked from our first club. Braga's up next. So here we are at Club 2, Braga in Portugal. For some context, let's see how they did last season. Last season they finished a very respectable third place above Sporting. They won the cup as well. So last season they had a great season, and now captain 4 target forwards is about to take over.
I'd like to take this chance to apologise.
Zooming straight to the squad and zooming straight down, we need to see if we've got anyone capable of doing the job. Weatherton, a Brazilian forward, definitely not a prototype target forward, but he could probably just about do it. He's got decent strength, decent jumping reach, but not ideal. However, Simon Banza, who's valued at 34 million, is perfect. He's a big old unit, heading 18, jumping reach 16, he's 6'2", main man.
Fuck me. Just look at the size of him. How big are you? Hey kids, how big is he?
Then you have Satoki Ojo, who's 5'5", and definitely can't do it.
Still filming then, are you?
But I've got to say, I've got a little bit more hope because the rest of the squad's got some real quality in it. So at Juve, with the no-nonsense defender stip, I didn't need to bring anyone in, but this time I think I'm going to need to bring in at least 2 who can do the job to give us a chance. So using the parameters of at least 6'1", I went to work. I managed to get in Petr Ratkov for the wide target spot, 14 million from Salzburg, could be ideal. I've also got Chris Wood as a new target forward, free transfer, and Liam Delap for Man City to play on the other wing. I've got some big boys up there now.
What up, big fella?
An incredibly important and probably very hard tactic build time. So this is my first hit at it, crew. This is Braga drama. It looks aggressive as hell. It probably is.
I prefer really not to speak.
But you've got to remember, we've managed to get our 4 target forwards in via 2 wide target forwards and 2 traditionals. This is the first version. If it doesn't work, we'll try something new. Now, with wide target forwards, what you need is runners and movement all around it. And I think we've got that with the wing backs pushing up and this attacking midfielder, who I'm going to ask to roam around a little bit just so he follows the ball. So the team looks a bit like this. Now, the front 4 strikers are all absolute units. Ratkov is 6'4". Chris Wood is 6'3". Banza is 6'2", and Liam Delap is 6'1".
Come on, look at the size of this fella.
The movement around them is going to be absolutely vital for this to have any chance. If you look at the team instructions, we're playing into it big time. In attack, we're going to focus the play down both wings and hit early crosses. We're going to play on the counter and we're going to take long kicks and distribute to the flanks, so pick out those target forwards. We might change that to direct down the middle. And at the back, we've got 2 of our no-nonsense centre-backs. We brought them with us and they're just going to hoof it up. And if Anderson Jesus is 29, then I'm the pup.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
We've got the Super Cup coming up next against Porto. That's going to be a good early test. We're going to use this match as a bit of a trial and error. And the first thing I see is when you're using a wide target forward, which is Ratkov, he's not exactly keen on tracking back. If you see here, that's the opposite winger Pepe, and his man who was marking him was João Mario. But as this plays on, he's not exactly busting a gut to get back and mark his man. And that could cause a problem getting overloads like that. You've got to think that he's a wide target forward, so he's thinking, I'll stay up because I'm going to be the focal point. But I'm going to need them to work back a bit. But we have taken the lead, and this is Porto, probably the best team we're going to come up against alongside Benfica. Now, we've got some link-ups going on here. Let's play it on. I'll show you what happens so that we win the ball there. Now, Delap is our wide target forward on the right-hand side. And in front of him, we've got our target forwards, Banza, Wood, Ratkov, all showing for the ball because that's what target forwards do. If Banza or Wood were a advanced forward or a poacher, they'd be looking to get in behind, but they're going to hold their position. And that's why movement from everybody further back is so important. As we play this on, Delap finds Banza. He drops off. Now he's going to look for a pass, and he finds it in the left wing-back Borja. I've got 4 absolute units up front now. Borja goes down the left-hand side. Little dink to Chris Wood. Nice little finish. And then, fantastically, we went 2-0 up. And this is another great point. Back post cross, we've got Wood, Ratkov, Banza. These defenders do not know what to do. We've got floated crosses on. And Ratkov, our wide target forward, put it in. And the genius of this is we don't have to tell our fullback to aim at any point because all of them are good in the air. So just cross it. Cross more often. Into the second half, it was happening again. Maserati found Banza, who dropped off. He finds the left wing back. He goes for a run knowing he's going to be the boy to cross it. He whips it in. And Banza got himself into the box for the fourth. And it gets better as we have a triple target forward combination. Ratkov, Banza with a knockdown, Wood with a finish.
This is football heritage.
Well, that was an epic first match. We beat Porto 5-2. I'm not sure they can handle the fact that we've just got giants up front. What I loved about that is it was counter-attack against a great team. So we've just won a trophy. It's the Super Cup. It's not technically a trophy, but to beat Porto 5-2 with that formation, wow, this season's going to be a fun one.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
First league game was disappointing. We lost away to Sporting, which was always going to be one of the tougher matches, but in our first home game, Delap and Banza, a couple of target forwards linking up beautifully here. That led to a thumping 5-0 win, and we followed that up with another thumping 5-goal win. It was time for Porto away. Chris Wood, bang, target forwards are on it. But Porto away from home is a tough one to crack, and they got their revenge for the Super Cup. But the way I'm looking at it now is that's two tough away games, Porto and Sporting, done and done early. So super early days, we are sitting fourth in the table, which is a result, but look at the goal stats. We've got two top goal scorers in Banza and Ratkov, two of our target forwards. And you'll also notice the assists, Broja and Gomez, both of my wing backs. They are pumping in them crosses. After only a handful of matches, the chemistry was already lighting up between the two target forwards up front and the guy in behind who does all the running. Also nice to see was a nice link up down the left hand side. We just need Liam Delap to step on it a bit more with Gomez and we're laughing. Teams from Europe weren't dealing with us either. In the Europa League, Ratkov again, he bagged a hat-trick in this one. He's an absolute superstar. He scored 17 times from that wide position. We lost away to Benfica, but that's all the big teams out of the way away from home now. And I've got the team chemistry I wanted with the wide guys and the front three. It's just the centre-backs letting us down, but other than that, it's perfect.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
So things were going great, but then Simon Banza, our main striker, broke his leg. Porto came to Braga and chose violence. And December, the wheels started to fall off.
In big trouble.
So we dropped to 7th and we're in a really dodgy run. It's actually really hard to work out what's gone wrong here because the guys up front are doing the job. Ratkov's got 20 goals in 28. Chris Wood, by the way, signed on a free, has scored 23 times this season. This injury to Banza has wiped us out. I also think Anderson Jesus' true age of 74 is catching up with him because his last 5 games have been 6.58, so I need to drop him.
No idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
With Banza injured, I've swooped for Ramon Maires, who will come in January as the next striker. Now, thankfully, the horrible spell was ended with an absolute smash. 7-1 win against Casapia. That 7-1 win got us back on track. We even got our win back against Sporting, but the Europa League was proving a bit more of a challenge. And then, out of nowhere, this happened. Benfica away as my decisive match. Are you having a laugh? And where has this came from? Who knew an injury to one player could wreck absolutely everything? This is the amount of matches he's missed now. He's just coming back to fitness.
Are you ready?
Judgment Day. Probably the hardest game we could have possibly had. Liam Delap down the right hand side, whipped it across, and the new man banged it in. Somehow we get the win away at Benfica. I do get the feeling that how good they were last season is contributing to them wanting to get rid of us this season. But we are still having a decent season. Europa League, we got murdered by Stuttgart, but that is actually a good thing because it means less matches. My players were really struggling with fitness. With less matches though, they got the fitness back. Massive win starting to come. And we've still got the semi-final second leg of the Portuguese Cup to go. And we're in the 11th of March. If you remember Juventus, we got sacked on the 30th. And Banza is finally fit. In the cruelest possible way, we're out of the semi-finals of the Cup on away goals. Is that even still a thing? So we're not going to add to our Super Cup. The only thing we can do now is try and get top 4 and not get sacked. I still think if we had a fully fit squad, we would have done some damage this season like we did at the start of the season. With Banza finally fully fit, we finished the season really well. Too little too late, but we did finish a respectable 5th. In all seriousness, I think that has some potential. It does have potential. Remember how we started the season? That start to the season was great up until December when Banza got injured and it all fell away. But up until then, we were absolutely crushing it. So I might explore this a bit further. I'll stick it in Patreon, have a go at it, do some tweaks if you will, but we survived. So I guess we might as well find out where we're going to be next time. Rangers, Real Betis, Marseille, Bologna, Sporting or Valencia. Ladies and gents, well, it looks like we're off to, I'm excited about this, Marseille. They should have a good squad. It all depends what we're going to give them in terms of the stip. Team violence, 4-4-2, or the double on Gonch. Might as well find out. Last time in the reject story, it was time for 4 target forwards at Braga in Portugal. The wild tactic was built, the journey was a roller coaster, but we avoided the sack and finished a respectable 5th. Now, it's on to Marseille.
All this tippy-tappy stuff, everybody keeps going on about the right way to play football, is all a lot.
Right, so it's Marseille and it's 4-4-2. I'll be honest, I probably would have liked on Gonch for Marseille because I'm guessing they're going to have some flair players, but we move. As always, we'll do our recon to see how they did last season, and the good news is they only finished 7th last year, so surely we can improve on that, especially with a normal tactic. There's always a but, and the but is they won the French Cup. Whenever you do save in France, always the outlier is PSG, and they're going to be no different this time. So we're a few seasons in now, and Marseille have made some interesting transfers. We've got Ross Barkley there already. Donny van der Beek, maybe he's finally found his home. Clement Lenglet, the much maligned centre-back. Soloff, who's a cracking target man to be fair, and he'll fit right into our 4-4-2. The key area is always going to be wide, and they've got some quality in Sarr, Adley, look at them valuations. So in theory, this should be the easiest tactic build, right? Welcome to Marseille. This is our 4-4-2, and I wanted to keep it as basic as I could, so you can see it's pretty simple. Wide midfielders, wingers, deep line playmaker with a central midfielder on support, target forward, because you should always have a target forward in a 4-4-2. Same kind of thing with the team instructions. I've used the 4-4-2 Wenger tactical style from one of my old tactics as a template, but I have tweaked it a bit. But we're going to focus play down both wings because we're really strong down the wide areas.
As in terms of entertainment.
First look at the team, you can see how strong it is with Adley down the left, but look at his backup in Merlin, a 50 million rated fullback. On the other side, you've got Sarr with that pace and Klaus as well. So it makes sense to focus play down the left and the right. This is the one I'm most confident about not getting sacked at for 2 reasons. 1, they finished 7th last year, and 2, the tactic we've got is it's workable. It's not too crazy.
You know, they could have used a bit more common sense.
So a big test early was the Trophée des Champions against PSG. Didn't go great, but they've got a forward line of Mbappe, Sane and Dembele. Ridiculous.
Why are you the way that you are?
Little looking match. You're going to be familiar with what a 4-4-2 does, but the key positions we've got is that defensive midfielder. One defensive midfielder just to help out the defenders. In this case, it's perfectly in Kondogbia. He's a good example of it. He's on a deep line playmaker defend duty. And if you look higher at the pitch, you can see the attacking intent from the wingers, Riquelme, the 2 strikers, and the other winger there. So we've got basically 4, and we've got the fullbacks backing up. So it's an attacking 4-4-2. When we get the ball moving, you can see Kondogbia is sitting deep with the centre backs, but everyone else is going forward. And this is what we want to see, link up between the 2 strikers. Kind of like Cole and York from the United era. Lovely. Those link-ups continued with the front 2. And the focus on wide play, old school 4-4-2 style was reaping rewards. Most goals are coming from those wide areas, through balls and crosses. And it led to an exceptional start to the season. Yeah, cracking start this. We are second in the league, lost that 1 game. But other than that, we're flying. The problem is PSG played 11, won 11. What do you do? What do you do?
I prefer really not to speak.
I don't want to change anything at the minute. The only problem I've got is getting everyone in the team because the bench is absolutely loaded as well. It's a good job we had a good squad because we've had no transfer budget to work with, so we've brought nobody in.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Into March now. After that good start, it was our old problem of too many matches with the Europa League, but we just about came through it. We're deep into the knockout stages of the Europa League now, and wing play and strikers are still doing the business. This is how we sit. Look, we got binned out of the French Cup in the 10th round, and the board weren't happy, but there was no talk of sackings, mostly thanks to our league performance and our Europa League. If you look at the league, we've lost 6 times, which isn't ideal, but it doesn't really matter. We're 9 clear of 3rd place, but above us, PSG are literally in a league of their own. So our main focus will be the Europa League. In the quarterfinals of the Europa League, tough game against Besiktas, but we came through it. Again, width and crosses to the big men in the box was key. Pretty much a perfect 4-4-2 performance that.
One more for the good guys.
We knew Soloff was going to be ideal for this. A 6'4" target forward in a 4-4-2, 22 goals. We finished second in the league behind PSG, who got 99 points after losing 1 match.
F*** off. F*** off.
Semi-finals of the Europa League, it was a bit of a bad defeat first leg against Brighton. Into the second leg, wide play helped us out again. That combination of right winger and Soloff, and we levelled the tie from the opposite flank with a left back crossing. That meant it went to penalties. It came down to the goalkeepers. Brighton's keeper Verbruggen. We're into the Europa League final.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
So we've got that Europa League final coming up. Unfortunately, it's against Inter Milan. What are they doing in that trophy? But we'll see how that goes. We had made a change as well. You might have noticed we lost 9 times in the league, which is a bit too many because of this period here. From the Monaco game down, kind of hit the skids. So we changed one thing in the tactic. All season we've used this one, the 4-4-2. But the last change we made for those last clutch of games, when chasing the goal against Brighton, was this. Mentality up to attacking, central midfielder up to attacking, target forward back to support. Seems to have worked. One thing's for sure, we're not getting sacked this time, but we can really put a cherry on top by somehow winning this game against Inter. And you can see the power of the old school 4-4-2. We're on the verge of breaking the goals tally record in the Europa League.
Get in there! Get in there!
Into the final we go. That's the team. Not everyone's fully fit, but it's the best we can do. We're going to start out attacking and see how it goes. You can see Inter's team there, very strong. We started nervously, but shockingly, after 17 minutes, a mistake led to us taking the lead through Soloff. 2 minutes later though, a corner, Upamecano deserved the equaliser for Inter. And with their tails up, DiMarco down the line to Brahim Diaz, and it was 2-1.
No!
We pushed and pushed, and came close and closer. But ultimately, we couldn't get there. Despite throwing everything at Inter, we couldn't get the leveller. Damn, I'm not watching this celebration.
Looked at the manager and went, well, that's your fault, you know, whatever about tactics and systems.
So close to an unexpected success there. It's pretty tough getting Inter Milan in the final, but overall, with the 4-4-2, that is a decent success. There is the 4-4-2. I will stick it in Patreon. There's no rocket science to it. Some pretty basic team instructions. I wanted most of the play to come from the wingers, as you can see. But after the most comfortable of all the teams so far, our time at Marseille is done.
Time to go!
Today our path has already been sealed. It's time for the double or triple on Gonch.
Fuck to and spit on that thing.
In God's name, can that human being be from this planet? How many? Does he have no conscience? Does he have no heart? Do you have no soul? You son of a bitch!
Right, Valencia then, a club with a huge history and probably my favourite stadium in Spain. Look at that beauty. We're going to need a very particular type of player for this. Problem is, I've got 0 wage budget. But I did make a move on Liverpool, Fabio Carvalho. Now what I'm looking for on Ngonch is flair, agility, passing, vision. He's got all of those. Had to make a move for him because we're not exactly blessed with it in this squad. We're not looking for great physical players. So Eric Lamela could be an option. He's got the flair, he's got the passing, he's got the vision. Even an experienced head like Kovacic, now 32 in the game, but he's still got everything we need and may move him forward.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
So double on Gonch. This is going to be the trickiest one yet. I just know it is. Right, first up I've gone for this. It looks bizarre, but it needs to be because we need movement everywhere because these guys just tend to stay exactly where they are. Even the little graphic shows it. They kind of stay in that pocket and don't really get forward. They don't get back. They don't roam as much as you want. They're just kind of there to provide killer through balls. So for our double, I've got one slightly offset and I'm asking him to stay wider, so maybe he'll come to this pocket and back up the wing back who's going to bomb past him. On the other side, we're just going to have this guy sticking, and then we've got movement coming from the two advanced forwards. This is option one.
Did I hear that correctly?
And that's why I've signed Carvalho, because if I ask him to stay a bit wider, he's got a bit of ability to go there as well, so he might help out there. Not sure. Going to be guessing game for the first couple of games.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, first league game in. Now Carvalho, what's interesting about this is we can't get a really good guide on his movement, but it does show that he's not being too passive. They can see he's got a bit of class, and that is a finish for the ages. So the season started really well. Look at that game against Eibar, but first big defeat at Real Sociedad got me thinking. We've got another good home win against Villarreal, but if you look down at the formation and the team ratings for the match, our Ngonches, they're kind of being passengers at the minute. After 11 games, we were doing okay. We're 6th in the league. We've lost 3 times to Real Madrid, Bilbao and Sociedad, but it's not terrible. But the main point about this is the Ngonch and Carvalho's only got 2 goals and 1 assist. And Lamela has been dreadful. He should be good at this role, but he scored 1, assisted 1, and his average rating is in the gutter.
Absolute rubbish.
So I decided to take a risk. I'm dropping one of the strikers back because only one of them was scoring. It was Duro. And Carvalho's now going to be a shadow striker, and I'm moving Kovacic up to Ngonch. I think he can do the role, so we're going to see how that goes.
Roll your sleeves up.
I also added a rake of player instructions to try and get more out of them. Direct passing, crossing, more shooting, getting further forward. I'm just trying to make them do a bit more. So now it's got a bit better. If I have a look at it here, you can see we've got one of our Ngonches there, Kovacic, and there's Lamela. And then we've got the 2 guys providing movement around them in the shadow striker and the striker. So let's have a little look in game. You can see when the ball's active, these guys are moving, but Kovacic and Lamela are kind of just holding their position. But on this occasion, it works because Lamela gets it in that pivot. There's no one near him. He's the one to provide a killer through ball. Here again, this is Atletico Madrid. The decision to move Kovacic into that Ngonch role, where he's got all that room and that passing ability, has been killer. He's been superb. Overall, the team's been heaps better. Look at the link up on this goal. Little flick from Carvalho. That's just wonderful. We made those changes just after the Barcelona match, and you can see the upturn in results. However, Lamela got injured, and it was also clear he was not the answer with his 14 appearances. He's not contributing enough. So,
Not good enough.
the tiny funds I had available, I got Hakim Ziyech, who should be absolutely perfect for it, and a 35-year-old Oscar. I am not bothered about his physicals, just all the technicals and mentals. We're sat in 5th at the minute. It's a right result. We've still only lost them 3 matches, which is just the same as Barcelona, but Real Madrid, unbeaten, just trashing the league. Always continued to play really well. The decision to get Ziyech in was inspired. That was our best win of the season. We did that with 10 men as well.
Football heritage.
Okay, with 10 games to go, we've got Valencia into the Champions League spots. We've lost 5 times, but we're 7 points clear of 5th, so we've got a chance here. A few more tweaks along the way, but I think I'm settled on this now. You can see the link-ups between the front 4. We've got the double on Gonch, we've got our shadow striker, and then pressing forward now. All linking up really well. Not only a change of personnel in Kovacic and Ziyech, but I think adding all these to each player has helped massively. So unfortunately we got knocked out of the Cup by Atletico, but our aim now is top 4 with Valencia. I think that'd be a big achievement with this. Going away to Barcelona with a double on Gonch is not recommended, but one of them, Ziyech, provided the other one, Kovacic, with a cheeky goal. Some good results and some bad ones. It's inconsistent, but the positive links remain. So our bitty form coincided with other teams going on a right roll, so I thought for the last 2 games, why not try this? So I made a second version and I did triple on Gonch. And ironically, it gave us one of our best performances yet. Kovacic linking up brilliantly in the right on Gonch role for the first, And Ziyech with Carvalho both on Gonchi's linking up for Simone. I mean, are we onto something here? He used it again in the last game of the season. Yet again, Ziyech with the assist. Despite those 2 games with the triple on Gonch, we finished 5th on not even goal difference, on head-to-head I think. Massively annoying. Not only did we finish 5th on head-to-head, but we beat Real Sociedad as well. They beat us 4-1 and we beat them 1-0. So they beat us on the head-to-head. But we didn't get sacked and we weren't even close to it. They were buzzing with what we did with Valencia. With that one, which we used for the last game of the season, and then that one for most of the season. Both of those I will put in Patreon. I mean, good luck if you're going to try it. I'll stick the play instructions on the end as well. We've got one more test left.
Are you ready?
So we've just done Spain, so I've took Betis out of the equation. So it's going to be Bologna Rangers or Sporting. And the last club we use is going to be Bologna. And don't forget, the only one that we can do is probably the most anticipated of the lot. And it is, of course, Team Violence for the last challenge. We've only been sacked once. It's the final reject story. We know we're at Bologna and we know it's Team Violence. All that's left now is to make it happen. So we land at Bologna, but that's not really the story, is it? The story's going to be which one of this team, or if any, are going to be our absolute nutters. Having a quick look, we might be struggling. This guy, 6'1", but aggression levels of 10. That's not what we need. Now we're talking with a bit of Scottish grit in Lewis Ferguson. Aggression 16. This is a good time to tell you what I'm looking for from this Team Violence and these ball-win midfielders. So we'll take Ferguson, for example, because he looks to be a decent option. What I want is aggression. Oh! Bravery. Determination. Tackling. Work rate.
This game is brutal.
Those I would be happy with. He hits the mark on most of those. Now, he's going to be our most creative, violent man because he's not that bad. He's passing 15. He's decent. Having looked at the other midfielders though, it was pretty clear that we're going to need somebody else. Fabian, just too much of a nice boy. Not for us. I set my parameters out. I've gone for attribute searching of aggression, bravery, decisions, work rate, tackling, all of at least 15. I was great with loads of options. Because of the financial situation, we only got a handful of players in. One was Romeo, formerly of Barcelona, but look at this, aggression 16, bravery 17, teamwork 18, tackling 17, perfect. And then just to show how ridiculous this challenge is, I went to the German 3rd Division and signed Daniel El Fadli, a Libyan German who's bang average, but he's an absolute lunatic. Time for the tactic build. Now I said at least 3 ball-winning midfielders, but I just feel like playing 4. Which has led me to version 1. Now this is probably going to change quite a lot, but thoughts?
Never.
So obviously, what dominates this is the 4 ball-winning midfielders. We've got 2 deeper, 2 higher up. Now the reason I put wing-backs there is because the guys in ball-winning midfielders aren't really going to offer us much going forward, so I'm going to push them up and just take a risk. But Giovanni Fabian is class, and he's just about forced his way in. He's just borderline aggressive enough. Him and Ferguson are going to have some team instructions to try and make that role a bit more expressive. We've taken more risks, dribbling more, and I'm asking them to run a bit wider.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
To my surprise, we started off pretty well, you know. First game was completely dominant, and in the second game away to Palmero, we won a 5-3 classic. And check out the match performance down there. The midfielders doing well. We got another win against Lecce. But what was starting to creep in was this. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bookings. Here we go.
Are you ready?
The first bad defeat of the season came at home to AC Milan, which was not helped by our first red card from the centre-back. That was our first defeat. A little clutch of games where we weren't great, but we got it back. And then the performance of the season. Ball-winning midfielder through to Orsolini. He lays it across. How'd you like that? 4-0 against Lazio. And a rake of bookings. So in mid-October, we're sitting pretty in 5th. We've only lost that one match. But we were top of the league on the most important one. Fouls made. Clear. Yellow cards, sitting in 2nd. Must do better. 5th. I will take that all day. If we can see out the season here and kind of keep 10 men on the pitch throughout, I don't know which will be the biggest achievement. Now let's be clear, Romeo, who is now 36, is having a disastrous season really in terms of average rating, 6.57, and more importantly for me, he's got no yellow cards. The ball-winning midfielders were acting like saints, but Orsolini got in the swing of things. Was that a cheeky red card for an elbow? Yeah, definitely was. Since that Lazio game, we haven't won that many matches. We're not losing many, but it's looking a bit shady. We're sitting 9th in January, and we've got good links in the midfield area. The ball-winning midfielders are quite enjoying it. The two defensive ones don't really get on, so we'll have to look at that. But yeah, we're going to have to change something because I think we're on a bit of a decline.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. We interrupt this video to show you that I have actually made another tactic on this with 3 ball-winning midfielders. I'm going to stick it in Patreon, but check out these results. So with this tactic, we finished 3rd. There was less emphasis on breaking bones and destroying things, less story, better tactic. So I'll stick that one in Patreon so you can have a good look at that one. If you'd like to support me more, jump over into Patreon. I post loads in there. And there's 3 or 4 different tiers to choose from. Now back to the most important thing, the story. It's all about the story.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
From 5th to 9th isn't pretty. We've only lost 4 matches though. But more importantly, we are still clear at top of fouls made. By the way, Lazio are dirty as well. They're 2nd for fouls and they're top of yellow cards. They've just nudged us off the top of yellow cards. And we sit 2nd for red cards. Come on, boys. So I decided to make some little changes to the tactic. I kept Undoy as a wing back, but I dropped the left side back a bit to full back attack. And I went to an attacking mentality. It seemed to have helped the links in the central midfield because now, for some reason, Romeo and El Fadli get on better. We responded really well and a great draw away to Napoli. And probably the performance of the season in the Cup away to Atalanta. Orsolini hat-trick, what a baller he is, and a couple of bookings for the record. That change led to some good results, annoyingly knocked out in extra time by Roma of the quarterfinals of the Cup. But performance of the season in Serie A with a 7-2 home win. End of the season we tailed off badly, losing 5 out of 6, which led to us finishing a disappointing 10th. However, Bologna and team violence, they didn't let us down because we got a moral victory. In the table that really mattered, we finished top, fouls made with a massive 591. Top of the yellow card division as well. Fouls made per game, top of that.
I might smash into somebody.
Red card Palmero, trumpers to that. Tackles, 1 ratio, a respectable 4th.
4th.
Interceptions, top of that.
Heritage.
How about opposition passes per defensive action? 2nd only to AC Milan, so there's some potential here. That was the final version of the tactic we used. Wreck It Ralph, you can see all the play basically focused down the right wing back who's Undoy. We retrained him to be there, but the chemistry between our 4 maniacs in midfield was beautiful. I wouldn't be scared to use 4 of those again, you know. The only issue you'll have with playing 4 roles like that is the lack of attacking output. We did get 8 goals from Ferguson and 7 from Fabian. But yeah, if I had my time again, maybe just play 3 of them.
I didn't say it.
But most importantly, the board were happy. They did not at all, at any point, put us under pressure. They were buzzing with it and they gave us a B- at the end, so they're well happy. What that does mean is all 5 challenges are now done. We got sacked once, only by Juve. The rest of the time, we did alright. Now, as always, I'll stick that tactic in Patreon. I wouldn't use it though, I'd just use it as something to work off maybe and build your own. If you do get a good one, I know some of you are having a good go at it. Let me know how you do. Player instructions are on the way for that tactic, but for now, the reject story, those 5 tactical rejections from the football world, they did okay, I think.